G'day guys, before you watch this episode, I just want to make a small apology about the lights flickering. We haven't worked out the LED light settings in the workshop with the camera yet, so I do apologise about that. I hope you enjoy it though. It was great to catch up with Kevin from FPG. He supports the channel and we like his product, so it was cool to do that. As for the billet block behind us, we've got the PRP dry sump on. It's coming up very sweet. I've got some content on that soon. We've just had a break from YouTube, but we are back and we've got 6 months to build the 33. It's going to be a hectic time and I'm looking forward to it. Enjoy the video.
CNC cards, the holes are cards. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. The holes for this one are already slotted. It just...
Righto, welcome back to another episode of Norrie Factory. Today we're here with Kevin from Frenchy's Performance Garage. Kevin's been kind enough to drop into the workshop and check out the two cars, the 32 and the 33. Product that is probably my favourite of the FPG is their steering pump and their steering pump bracket. So this one here is actually off the 32. And like, if you have a look at that bracket, how cool is that? Adjustments here for, is that just for?
A lot of the problems with the RB steering is the different offsets with your balances. So the RB 20 and 25s are different to your 26s. Within the 26 family, the R32 is different to the 33, 34, and you get all sorts of problems with alignment. So you can see it can move back and forth a certain amount. And in the front, there's an actual billet spacer, which allows you a 0 offset with no spacer, a 6.5 mil and a 10 mil spacer, which will set your pump positioning to suit all the balances on the market.
That's right. It's a genuine Nissan pump too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Nissan Navara pump, so it's more of a modern item, an off-the-shelf component. So if you get a pump failure or whatever, it's easy to get one, it's easy to get seals, it's just modern solutions.
So then that sorts out the steering. Another one of FPG's leading products is their billet hats.
This one, which does your R33, R34s, as well as your S14, S15s, we've stuck to a twin pump kit. You can run two 525 Walbros, for example. We've got customers making well over 1,000 wheel horsepower on E85.
It's pretty cool.
Australian horsepower, which is...
That's it, yeah.
We'll start that debate. So they're just, they're a capable little unit. The reason why we don't go to a triple setup is just the tank is quite narrow down the bottom. It's tricky enough to get 2 pumps, and for us, getting the pumps in the right spot was a big part of the project. They need to be in the right positioning so they don't surge, they don't start cavitating and having all sorts of problems. Yeah. So that was the main focus, is we put 2 pumps, we do it properly, and it just works.
So that's with the 33s, you're saying, and the S15s,
Yeah, so your R32 is just a different tank altogether, which is easier to fit more. However, surging is terrible in the 32s because of the actual layout of the tank. It's this big giant cube with massive sloshing. It's just...
That's right, there's no baffles in it. So Frenchy's Performance Garage actually offer for the 32 an in-tank surge tank. So it's, if you go back on one of our channels, we've actually got it, you can have a video, we'll put the link there to that steel sleeve, and on the outside of that is a small supply pump, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, it's a lift pump.
And it's a lift pump that actually pumps fuel on the outside of the surge tank into the surge tank, and then you can have up to 3 Walbros in there pumping 1,000 horsepower, 1,200 horsepower, or just your 500-600 horsepower. And then this has got the siphon incorporated into it as well, the 33s.
There is a more in-depth video on the Frenchy's Performance Garage channel about the Venturi system and how important and critical it is to get right. Because one, it needs to be there for your fuel tank level to actually balance out properly, or you'll siphon one side and not the other.
That's right. So I guess to paint a picture is the fuel tanks in the 33s actually have a hump in them where the drive line goes through. The problem is the fuel pump's on one side of that saddle. So what it actually does is, as it sucks out the fuel from this side, it uses that as a venturi to pump it over. So there's a hose that goes over. And that's how you get your fuel.
So it's using a jet pump, as the Japanese call it, which is it's a siphon system. It uses your fuel return to actually drive through this valve, which creates like a high pressure, low pressure situation, which drives a vacuum in that middle port. So your vacuum actually sucks through here, the kit comes with a little barb fitting, which either screws on the back or on the front, which allows you to connect your factory hose that comes from your passive side of your tank. And as your fuel returns, it's driving a siphoning effect, sucking the fuel from the passive side back into your active side where your pumps sit. So it's very important to get it right, because you want as much fuel where your fuel pumps are, so they're constantly fed, but also you don't want a siphon that's going to create too much of a restriction on your return, giving you all sorts of fuel pressure problems. Yeah, it's just the way it's been set up, the pump positioning, and yeah, it's a well set up sort of system.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that one's been around for quite a number of years now, and
that was one of your first sort of billet hats, was it?
Yeah, it was early in the piece, but made a few revisions to make them prettier or more optionable.
Yep.
The market's shifted slightly as well. There's a lot of R34 customers that want performance but don't want to modify the car. They don't want to change the fuel lines, for example. They just want to retain everything factory.
Yep.
So we got Speedflow in Australia to make custom fitting for us, which screw into our billet hats with the factory barb, which you can clip your factory hoses back on.
That's really cool.
Extremely popular with the R34 GTR.
Yeah. So another product I want to go over, which was really important to me on the 32, was controlling the Attessa system.
Do a Attessa replacement line with an optional pressure sensor port adapter.
Yep. So you can actually run a sensor in here if you're trying to control the all-wheel drive clutch with a pressure. It's actually, I think it's up to 500 PSI, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's quite a high pressure.
They run high twos, so probably 2 to 300 in the actuator.
Yep.
I mean, the system doesn't have a pressure sensor. It's got a pressure switch which triggers your pump on and off.
Yep.
But there is no data or feedback from what the line's actually seeing.
You can actually get, for the 32, Kevin has made a whole fuel line, a whole pressure line all the way back to the Attessa pump.
What happens is where internally the oil gets on the other side of the piston in the switch.
Yep.
So they leak out of the body, but because you've got oil on both sides of your piston, it doesn't actually actuate or trigger your pump anymore. So, I mean, there was nothing on the market, so we just made a replacement switch, which is a bit bulkier because we went with a heavy-duty industrial type setup. We get them custom made, they get bench tested before they get boxed up. So you're getting a unique switch in every box that's been dialed in for your car, sort of thing.
Yeah. I think you've got the lines for 32s, but you haven't quite got the 33.
Yeah, so I've got the measurements done for the 33 and 34. I've got it all sketched up. I just need to make a couple, fit them, and I don't release any products until they've been tested on an actual car. I want to see that it fits properly. I want to see how spanners swing in there. I think it's one thing to design something on a computer screen. It's another to actually put it in the car and go, you know what, I don't actually like that rub point. I'm going to change the bracketry.
That's right.
So that's how, like, we like to take it a little bit further. And this is great because all you guys are now using modern tech ECUs. You're getting those computers that are so capable that have all these inputs and outputs. So whether you're using your computer to control the Attessa or not, it's great having that sort of data there, because in turn you can use that pressure to turn into a digital readout on your dash or on a CAN gauge saying, well, I've got 50% four-wheel drive actuation, because you know you got 50% of the pressure there.
Yeah, that's good. That's the Attessa system sorted. Another one of your leading products is the alternator kit, which I believe is high output Mitsubishi core.
Slowly changing some of the branding on there. I mean, if you look at the part number, FPG 009, been making that one for a long time. It was, you know,
probably one of your first products.
Well, it's number 9 exactly.
Yeah,
so started with FPG 001.
That makes sense. I didn't think about that.
I'm pretty sure that's the last. So FPG 001 was a billet hat single pump hanger for an R32 GTR.
Wow.
So about 15 years ago, with my first R32, I just wanted to replace the plastic hat. I had a Walbro 460, and typical thing, like the connectors won't do, the sizing of the line is wrong, it just doesn't work, and there was absolutely nothing on the market. It's just
that's what
non-existent.
FPG.
Yeah, so FPG 001 was actually a piece of billet. It's just spun up on the lathe, and the holes were done in the drill press. It was a one-off for my own car. and then it just went on to you make it for your mate and your mate's mate, and then next minute we're making hundreds of them. So
yeah. First thing you notice is the look of it, like the aluminium of these things,
the finish,
and the finish is just so much better.
Everything, the quality of, you look at the connector, the casting, everything.
The windings, it's perfect. Yeah,
you can tell like it's a superior product than your aftermarket sort of cheaper replacement. It's probably worth mentioning. It's important to do your numbers when you're modifying anything. Like I get people saying, "Oh, do I need to upgrade my cabling?" It's like, well, how many amps
are you drawing?
Or what's your total current load? How many fuel pumps are you running? What about fans? What have you got? You just need to write it down. Well, I'm running this, and that. That's so many amps. The numbers don't lie. And then you look at your cable sizing chart, you look at your fuses, your breakers, the output of your unit. It's it's not black magic. I mean, probably the main thing I've noticed with just products on the market, these units, so the bottom bolt, the hole is actually quite loose the way it's made. If you have a look, and these are quality units, they're actually well drilled, but some of the cheaper ones I've seen, there's a lot of slop in the bolt. So when you don't have a brace, this is on your block, you can actually get some slight cocking in there because you're relying on such a small face. You've got tiny contact points. So you're relying on that contact point against your cast to give you every bit of trueness, I guess.
That's right. And you can't put a washer on it to fix that because a washer is just going to slide all over.
And everything. Right. So I've designed this bracket that's got a nice flat square surface, and it's got the thread incorporated because do you know how terrible it is to get that nut in the car? It's shocking. Yeah. So that actually screws into there. This is 6000 series aluminium, so it's really strong. Face, like it's been carefully designed, so you get the exact size here, and all of a sudden you got double the contact points. You get a nice hinge that keeps your alternator nice and true. And it gives you a better belt alignment.
And the beauty with these, the tension is just done with like pulling the alternator back. There's no winding bolt or screw that can fail. It's literally just pull it back, get the tension right on the belt, lock it off, and it's done.
Yeah, and I went that way because we did a lot of cars for customers that had aftermarket plenums, which run a lot of hoses underneath, especially for your coolant, all the bleed hoses and all that. It just got too busy around all that bracketry, so I was like, you know what, we'll just do something that just hugs the block. While we're on the topic of these alternators, they're not a modern unit. Around a long time, the 2-pin style where you need your battery light bulb to turn your windings on.
It needs to be excited.
And you've encountered that problem
too, haven't you? Yep. So when we fitted the ED5 M-Tron dash, we lost excitement of the alternator because it actually goes through the dash. It gets excitement through the custom or the factory, dash on a GTR.
Through the bulb.
As soon as we removed it, the bulb. So the bulb just puts a load on the alternator, which creates it to start.
It needs it to function. I've had customers that have ordered FPG alternators, fitted to a car. I get a message saying, hey, the thing doesn't charge. And my first question is, do you have an aftermarket dash? 99% of the time, I'm running a digital screen. I said, well, stop right there. You don't have the bulb in the circuit, do you? Oh no, well there you go.
And it's very easy to find. So you just pull your dash out, you find the wires, you cut them, and you just add the bulb in.
Just
that's all you have to do.
Bulb in there, and then that's it. It'll just turn on your circuitry. He always brings a shopping trolley when he comes to FPG. You want all these bits. But this time actually I came up to see them. So just to put things into context, their shop is an 8-hour drive from my shop. Australia's quite vast, and it's a bit of a hike. It's about 700 kilometres, which is about 434 miles.
So it's a fair way out of the way.
It's a day trip, but it's not down the road.
This is a big one for me, and it got a lot of comments on the 32 at GTR Fest, and they didn't even know that this was an item, and that was some of the bigger guys in the GTR world. So this is your Injector Loom wiring loom holder. You can get it in raw and black. I like the raw because it looks really nice against the
Yeah, especially if you've got darker covers. If you want it to pop out, it does look really good. Or we offer in the black, which looks almost like the factory plastic one.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, we put a lot of effort to design this to be a replica of the plastic one, down to your conduit holder. Maturized a few years ago, we did a customer's car, he wanted a brand new factory loom. You cannot buy the plastic housing. It's just discontinued.
Yep, I didn't know that. There you go.
That's why this went on the drawing board. Another thing, I've seen a couple of companies around the world that now start to make these and they think they're pioneer in the game. This is FPG 14. I think I probably made these 5 years ago.
Yep. Yeah, and like this thing is tough as nails. Like this is proper. This looks great with the billet block and the billet all-wheel drive sump because it's billet again. And I do like this bit that you added on there. I know you said it's extra work to do, but you can just tape your loom up, and so that actually runs your electrical tape where the conduit goes.
So if you want that factory finish, your wiring comes in and it's designed to hold the electrical tape perfectly around your loom. It just looks like a factory item. And
this bit actually, I'm pretty sure you can take the top off and the bottom is still bolted down.
So it's very easy. You've got two little cap screws, and then you just a little bit of machining work.
So you take the top off.
It's good to see inside because there's quite a bit happening in there.
That's right. So in that wiring loom, you have your injectors. You also have your
crank angle sensor, a few
your trigger sensors,
your coolant temp, intake, temp.
Yep. And then the beauty of this is when you start modifying your car, you can actually like have your loom laid out in here and see all your wires going off, and you can cut, trim, add, delete, do whatever you want. Go over the last thing quickly, and that's the AC compressor or AC kit.
Oh, you want to see the kit?
Yep, get the whole kit out.
Bring the bits and the lights.
So AC compressor that goes with your kit. And it's the first thing you're going to notice is the size and how much you save.
And the reason why it's a Denso compressor is because anyone that's got any experience with AC will just know that it's the business. Denso is just the right gear. It just works. They're leading when it comes to that sort of gear. The FPG Products it's a kit. And when we say it's a kit, it's not just a few parts chucked in a box. So we've got pipes. They come with O-rings. Stickers, little custom little badges for people that enjoy trinkets. Hardware. These are your mounts for your condenser. Here's the little nugget.
Have a look at that.
Got a nice little billet bracket. So this is designed, So this is designed to mount the compressor onto your RB engines. So it's almost like a replica of the factory setup.
Just much better and much stronger.
It comes with a new tensioner. That's the part that's often overlooked. Those bearings wear out. They're 30 years old. The number of GTRs, I've grabbed the pulley and the thing wobbles and they're wondering why they're throwing belts and everything.
Or squealing or whatnot.
So in true FPG fashion, we just start fresh, supply every bit that you need for the kit. So you get a new pulley, you get a new tensioner. Comes with little spacers, got the connector for your compressor clutch, so it's all in the bag.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Comes with a new pressure switch for your air con, and because I don't like cutting wires on GTRs, I've actually given you the connector that goes into the switch.
And it converts it over.
And I give you the female one, which will plug into your factory wiring. And you get a 4-core wire that will do your extension. So you can actually plug and play to your factory connector.
So is that actually new? Because I don't think I got that on my first
So the 32 is different. So the 32 used an old style pressure switch, which I didn't want to go with. I wanted a modern trinary style, which turns your fan on and off. That's why it's not a direct plug and play. The beauty with the 33 and 34s is they went to a modern style trinary switch from factory.
And I guess there was, going back to the tensioner, there's actually a lot more gone into this behind the scenes. So this is not as weak as the old one, or original one, I should say. I remember with the original one, it used to have a little C-clip washer that went on there, and it used to pop off all the time.
Oh, it's good that you mentioned this, because I was looking for off-the-shelf tensioners, which you can buy. There's companies that make tensioner replacements even for these cars. I was just not happy with the quality. It wasn't true. The pulleys would wobble when you spun them. They just look garbage. So I'll show you what is going on here. There's quite a bit. Like this spacer, we CNC machine that spacer. So the nut applies the tension on the inner race of your bearing.
Not the
so you're
outside.
not pushing on anything.
Yep.
Right? We've got a matching one on the back side, which sets your right pulley positioning, right, to get the right offset for alignment. So this is custom, this is custom. This tensioner, it's got a long bolt, so you've got plenty of adjustment. Lucky the threads are quality, eh? This is custom made. This is 6000 series aluminium, same thing. We made a custom billet block and a custom bolt that's ground finish and slotted.
Yep.
So everything aligns. So instead of using those fabricated ones that you see, which are never tight, they're always loose, like this is ground to size. Look at the alignment. Or
That's awesome.
Look at the clearance.
Like, just drops in.
Like this is
cool.
precision. You're never gonna get any wobble or any walk. It's ground to size.
Yeah, and you can still buy the factory ones.
You can actually.
Yeah, and I remember I brought it before I got the Frenchy's kit, and it was terrible. It had play in it from factory.
100%. And once you see everything, the way it assembles in there, there's it's quite a bit. Everything is precision machined. Everything goes in nicely. You get, so this is your tensioner. And then as you can see, every bit, you can't even just bang it on. Like, look how snug it is.
Yep, perfect.
That's what you want.
To finish off the AC kit, we've got the condenser and the pipes. Again,
Same thing.
Yeah, it's top quality. This stuff actually looks like it would come out of the Nissan factory today.
Goes into your compressor, this goes into your piping, finished.
Yep. And this thing looks amazing. Like, that's a work of art.
There's been a lot of work in designing the block that goes into your condenser. It does a lot of things. It's got your charge port, it's got your pressure switch port, that goes into your condenser. And then we went with pretty much an OEM plus style finish with a block and your fittings, everything screws in. But you could take these two off and actually connect the factory hoses and pipes back in.
Too. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
I just replicated the sizing, the factory sizing. The only difference is the factory hose has a little locating dowel, so it can't be clocked.
Yep.
You'll have to remove that dowel. I didn't want to add an extra hole.
Yeah. And I think I'll just add, this is just for 33, 34 and stager. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so the 32s are slightly different. Again, we can show you on the 32 behind
32
you.
comes with its own pipes. It just goes through a different hole in your front radiator support.
If you're doing a resto mod sort of build, I think the FPG catalogue is the perfect sort of place to start looking for parts. If you've got any simple questions about it, just drop us a message on Instagram. If you're serious about buying some of these products, email a list to Kevin and he'll get back to you. We can also help you out, especially if you're north of Brisbane, like up around the central Queensland or further north. We can always help you out as well. Cool. Oh, well, thanks for coming, Kevin. Appreciate it.
It's really hot up here. It's very tropical.
Yeah, it is, which is why we need an AC kit and our GTR.
Yeah, which is good because you know that if these guys are running aircon or the cooling fans and it works up here, it will work pretty much anywhere else in the world.
That's right, yeah. I think I've run mine at Rocky Mats in the heat. I had the AC going flat out with the windows down. So there you go. Yeah, it's going to work.
For anyone that's been to Rocky Mats, your shoes almost stick to the bitumen. It's that hot. So.
Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Check out Frenchy Performance Garage channel and also their website, frenchyperformancegarage.com.